The ways and means whereby the Romans acquired the patronage, and in that the empire of the world, were different according unto the different condition of their commonwealth. In her rise and in her growth, in her rise she proceeded rather by colonies, in her growth by unequal leagues. Colonies without the bounds of Italy she planted none. Such dispersion of the Roman citizens as to plant him in foreign parts till the contrary interest of the emperors brought in that practice was unlawful. Nor did she ever demolish any city within that compass, or divest it of liberty. But whereas the most of them were commonwealths, stirred up by emulation of her great felicity to war against her, if she overcame any, she confiscated some part of their lands that were the greatest incendiaries or causes of the trouble, upon which she planted colonies of her own people, preserving the lands and liberties for the rest unto the natives or inhabitants. By this way of proceeding, that I may be brief as is possible, she did many and great things. For in confirming her of liberty, she propagated her empire in holding the inhabitants from rebellion. She put a curb upon the incursion of enemies. In exonerating herself of the poorer sort, she multiplied her citizens. In rewarding her veterans, she rendered the rest less seditious. And in requiring unto herself the reverence of the common parent, she from time to time became the mother of newborn cities. In her farther growth, the way of her propagation went more upon leagues, which for the first division were of two kinds, social and provincial. Again, social leagues, or leagues of society, were of two kinds, the first called Latinity, or Latin, the second Italian rite. The league between the Romans and the Latins, or Latin rite, approached nearest unto Jus Quiritium, the right of the native Roman. The man or the city that was honored with this right was civitate donatus cum suffragio, adopted a citizen of Rome with the right of having suffrage with the people in some cases, as those of confirmation of law or determination in judicature, if both the consuls were agreed, not otherwise. Wherefore, that coming to little, the greatest and most peculiar part of this privilege was that who had borne magistracy, at least that of the aedile or quaestor, in any Latin city, as by consequence of the same a citizen of Rome at all points. Italian right was also donation of the city, but without suffrage. They who were in either of these leagues were governed by their own lands and magistrates, having all the rights as to liberty of citizens of Rome, yielding and paying to the commonwealth as head of the league, and having the conduct of all affairs appertaining to the common cause, such aid of men and moneys as were particularly agreed upon the merit of the cause, and specified in their respective leagues, whence such leagues came to be called equal or unequal accordingly. Provincial leagues were of different extensions according unto the merit and capacity of a conquered people, but in one kind, for every province was governed by Roman magistrates, as a praetor of a council according to the dignity of the province, for the civil administration and conduct of the provincial army, with a quaestor, for the gathering of the public revenue, from which magistrates a province might appeal unto Rome. For the better understanding of these particulars, I shall exemplify in as many of them as is needful. And first, in Macedon. The Macedonians were thrice conquered by the Romans, first under the conduct of T. Quintus Flaminius, secondly under that of L. Aemilius Paulus, and thirdly under that of Q. Caecilius Metellus, thence called Macedonicus. For the first time, Pax Petenti Philippo data Graeciae libertas. Philip of Macedon, who possessed of Acrocorinthus, boasted no less than was true, that he had Greece in fetters, being overcome by Flaminius, but had his kingdom restored unto him upon condition that he should forthwith set all the cities which he held in Greece and in Asia at liberty, and that he should not make war out of Macedon, but by leave of the Senate of Rome, which Philip, having no other way to save anything, agreed should be done accordingly. The Grecians, being at this time assembled at the Isthmian games, where the concourse was mighty great, a crier appointed unto the office by Flaminius was heard among them proclaiming all Greece to be free, to which the people, being amazed at so hopeless a thing, gave little credit, till they received such testimony of the truth as put it past all doubt. Whereupon they fell immediately on running unto the proconsul with flowers and garlands, and such violent expressions of their admiration and joy, as if Flaminius, a young man about some 33, had not also been very strong, he must have died of no other death than their kindness. While every one striving to touch his hand, they bore him up and down the field with an unruly throng, full of such ejaculations as these: How is there a people in the world that at their own charge, at their own peril, will fight for the liberty of another? Did they live at the next door unto this fire? Or what kind of men are these, whose business it is to pass seas, that the world may be governed with righteousness? The cities of Greece and of Asia shake off their iron fetters at the voice of a crier. Was it madness to imagine such a thing? And is it done? O virtue, O felicity, O fame! In this example, your lordships have a donation of liberty or of Italian right unto a people by restitution to what they had formerly enjoyed, and some particular men, families, or cities, according unto their merit of the Romans, if not upon like occasions, were gratified with Latinity. But Philip's share by this means did not please him, wherefore the league was broken by his son Perseus, and the Macedonians thereupon for the second time conquered by Aemilius Paulus, their king, taken, and they, sometime after the victory, summoned unto the tribunal of the general, where, remembering how little hope they ought to have of pardon, they expected some dreadful sentence. When Aemilius, in the first place, declared the Macedonians to be free, in the full possession of their lands, goods, and laws, with right to elect annual magistrates, yielding and paying unto the people of Rome 1/2 of the tribute which they were accustomed to pay unto their own kings. This done, he went on making so skillful a division of the country in order to methodizing of the people, and casting them into a form of popular government, that of the Macedonians, being first surprised with the virtue of the Romans, began now to alter the scene of their admiration, that a stranger of them should do such things for them in their own country, and with full facility, as they had never so much as once imagined to be possible. Nor was this all, for Aemilius, as if not dictating to conquered enemies, but to some well-deserving friends, gave them in the last place laws so suitable and contrived with such care and prudence, that long use and experience, the only correctness of works of this nature, could never find a fault in them. In this example you have a donation of liberty or of Italian right unto a people that had not tasted it before, but were now taught how to use it. My lords the royalists should compare what we are doing and what hitherto we have done for them with this example. It is a shame that while we are boasting up ourselves above all, we should be so far from imitating such examples as these that we do not so much as understand that if government be the parent of manners, where there be no heroical virtues, there is no heroical government. But the Macedonians rebelling at the name of a false Philip, the third time against the Romans, were by them judged incapable of liberty, and reduced by Metellus into a province. Now, whereas it remains that I explain the nature of a province, I shall rather choose that of Sicily, because, having been the first that the Romans made, the descriptions of the rest relate to it. We have so received the Sicilian cities into amity, saith Cicero, that they enjoy their ancient laws, and upon no other condition than of the same obedience unto the people of Rome, which they formerly yielded unto their own princes or superiors. So the Sicilians, whereas they had been parcelled forth unto diverse princes and into diverse states, the cause of perpetual wars, whereby hewing one another down, they became sacrifices unto the ambition of their neighbors or of some invader, were now received at the old rate unto a new protection, which could hold them, and in which no enemy durst touch them. Nor was it possible, as the case stood with such, for the Sicilians to receive, or for the Romans to give more. A Roman province is defined by Sigonius, a region having provincial right. Provincial right, in general, was to be governed by the Roman praetor, or consul, in matter at least of state and of the militia, and by a quaestor, whose office it was to receive the public's revenue. Provincial right, in particular, was different, according unto the different leagues or agreements between the commonwealth and the people reduced unto a province. Siculi hoc iure sunt ut quod vivis cum cive agat, domi tertet suis legebus, quod siculus cum siculo non justem civitatis, ut de eo praetor judices ex pili decreto sortiatur, quod privatus a populo petit, aut populus a privato senatus ex aliqua civitate, qui judicet datur, qui alterna civitates reiecta sunt, quod civis Romanus a siculo petit, siculus judex datur, quod siculus a cive Romano, civis Romanus datur, ceterarum rerum selecti judices ex civium Romanorum conventu proponi solent, inter oratores et decumanos lege frumentaria, quam hieronicam appellant, judicia fiunt. Because the rest would oblige me into a discourse too large for this place, it shall suffice that I have shown you how it was in Sicily. My lords, upon the fabric of your provincial orb I shall not hold you, because it is sufficiently described in the order, and I cannot believe that you think it inferior to the way of a praetor and a quaestor. But whereas the provincial way of the Roman commonwealths were that whereby she held the empire of the world, and your orbs are intended to be capable at the least of the like use, there may arise many controversies, as whether such a course be lawful, whether it be feasible, and seeing that the Romans ruined upon that point, whether it would not be upon the destruction of the commonwealth. For the first, if the empire of a